I'm chasing shadows in the night. Words echo silent where I hide. Every mirror shows a stranger's eyes, searching for the part of me that's mine. But the sky ignites a spark inside, burning down to wait. In the ashes of my fight, truth is born today. I will rise up like a phoenix from the flame. Find my voice and call out your name. From the roots of what I used to be, I'll embrace the truth and set it free. Blinded by the weight of all my fears, I let them break me, shape my day. Every scar's a testament to life. Now I rewrite the story in my mind. Yeah, feel the fire burning. I'm no longer turning away from the truth that's calling. I'm alive today. All I used to be, flash of freeness, fires wearing, and set me free. Rising high, Phoenix, watch me go.
Testing. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me. It looks like my audio is coming in loud and clear, and it is good to see everyone today. I have to just say, I fell asleep. I fell asleep. I took a quick nap. I woke up and I was like, "Oh my God, I gotta go live." How is everyone today? I hope you are doing absolutely amazing. Do me a favor, drop a 1 if you can hear my audio. I would greatly appreciate that because sometimes there's a delay. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so very much. Donna Rosa, yes, we can hear you. All right, well, welcome in. If you've never seen my stream before, I'm Phoenix, your host. Welcome to Phoenix Talks. We rise above assumptions and all those rumors, and we think with open minds because what? Every question matters. Every angle is welcome. If this is you, welcome home. One thing I will say is if you are trolling, keep trolling. It's not going to work. Just keep your scroll and everyone will be fine without your trolling. But if you're here to discuss the Idaho 4, and we're going to do a live dig today on loose ends. Loose ends. Wow. Look at that. Last night with Jess was awesome. Thank you. You are on fire. I think we are all on fire, Beth. We are all on fire looking for truth in this case, trying to determine what is real, what is fake. But you know what? What I will say is on every stream, you will find a little description that I write. You decide where the truth ends and the programming begins. Remember the narrative they tried to feed us. The Idaho 4K shocked the nation, but underneath the tragedy, questions still burn about the truth, technology, and control. If this was a straightforward homicide investigation or a story shaped by media algorithms, genetic forensics, and AI driving policy. And, these videos, these audios, these pictures, people have been questioning in this case. It definitely intrigues us, especially in the true crime community, because we're asking, did these 4 really pass on? Is this maybe a part of the witness protection program don't want anyone to find out about. Is it's a cover up, a psyop? And we give you enough information that you can decide on your own free will to go down these rabbit holes. But I like to show you with receipts, truth and evidence, because a lot of the things that Jess talked about last night, some people have never heard. Now, if you're not digging into this case, you're not going to hear a lot about what she talked about, which I was bringing up everything on the screen for you, or after she talked about it, so we could go down that rabbit hole to verify. There were some things on Reddit. There was some pictures. There are some videos. There are all kinds of things out there, but not one person has put everything, compiled it together so that we can understand it. You are looking at little clips and pictures and videos and screenshots. It's all this little tiny pieces of information that a lot of people have been able to consume and put together. So we greatly appreciate you, Beth. Thank you so much for that $10 gift. And you have this on fire. I love it. But Jess' suggestion about the patio is worth checking out. Absolutely. Absolutely. I showed you live the patio. I had this question before. Why are there dark stains? Why are they blurred out? Why this? Why that? And this live dig is kind of like a loose ends video, audio podcast. If you're listening to it on replay, if you're listening in your car, this is going to give you some more insight to, if I hear something, I go down the rabbit hole. And boy, did someone send me something last night that was a major whoa moment. That whoa, like, holy moly, we're going to do a live dig on loose ends. Loose ends matter because it brings it home. I mean, a loose end is something that was never gone down, looked at. It affects appeals in this matter for Brian Koberger. It affects public trust in what we're told and maybe what others don't have time to read. It impacts jury perception, true case closure, right? That's what we're looking for. We're looking for some type of closure in the Idaho 4 case that no one is talking about. And how do we get there? So welcome in every single one of you. Beth, no talkie before coffee. Caleb, good to see you. Lulu Bell, there's a lot of originals in this house. Oh, geez. Cat's Girl, Amanda, good to see you. I like your name. I like your name. Is it Miss Seeker of the Light? I love it. Lucky 7, number up. Inked Mama, welcome in. Love it. Marissa, good to see you here. Absolutely amazing. Hey, Karen, good to see you. John, welcome in. I totally agree. The suggestion on the patio. There's things that we didn't even see when they were showing us because we didn't know. And once you see it and someone shows you, it's hard to forget. I have 2 autistic sons. One is 25, like Brian. My younger is 10. This could be my kids, any of our kids. And I have a feeling at the beginning of this, when I started, going live with Birdie, I told Birdie there is an autistic portion of this case. And, I thought about it yesterday after I said it finally on the live, that, some of these, I think it was the live before Jess, when we talked about the bogus, in my humble opinion, lawsuit against WSU, is they're basically telling the college that you can't bring these autistic people and put them in high places and earning PhDs, because these people are kind of smart, but they're awkwardly social. And I was talking just briefly about it, about my son, who was diagnosed and is diagnosed with autism when he was about 4. And it was a difficult road. He's 18 now. And let me tell you just an insight. And if you know, you know. And if no one has ever shared this with you, I'm going to share it with you. I'll be the one. So, my son is germaphobe. Not to the point where it's so excessive. But for Christmas, he was left a light in his stocking. And I didn't realize this at the time, that my husband put it in his stocking. That's his stepdad. And it actually has a bright light and it has a UV light. And if anyone knows what a UV light is used for, I probably wouldn't have given this to him, but it shows germs, right? There's a sanitizer. You can use it to see leftover stuff on the tables and the counters and the chairs and the fridge. And it shows bacteria, fungus, and even viruses. It's crazy. And, a lot of people say, oh, you need to bring a light when you go to a hotel room or something like that. And so he was showing me yesterday all the ways to see germs. And I thought I was a really good, cleaner. And so I get out the Clorox and I start spraying everything. And we're watching these little germs disappear as I'm using the Clorox wipes. Right? And it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. So you learn something every day. You learn what the little specks of germs look like. I mean, they're on our hands too, they're everywhere. So, we just did a little experiment together and went around the house. It was pretty cool, but it was really eye opening to kind of get the perspective of how he feels about germs. So, they said Brian Koberger was a germaphobe, and that was a part of his autism. And I can see that so clearly, especially hands, taking out the garbage, wearing gloves, doing the chores with the dogs, picking up whatever, and meticulously washing hands. To where the fact that when he was younger, he used to wash his hands so much he would almost rub the skin off his hands. And so gloves was an alternative to him washing his hands so raw that I had to, take him to a dermatologist and this and that. So, one thing I will say is that everyone is learning a lot inadvertently listening to the Idaho 4. I mean, you might hear something you never knew before. But what we're going to do is we're going to start this live dig, and I'm going to use as a guide for this live dig your comments and your feedback. Because I think there's a lot of things that other people have never talked about, never got any type of closure, right? So, Ink Mama says, wow, thanks for sharing. Amanda B. So we have a witness that blows up their narrative. Okay, what witness? What witness blows up their narrative? Jenna's interview, her times, I'm confused. Peyton Rossi, he mentions Emily and Hunter lied to the going to the party. Just a few things I've caught. Yeah, absolutely. There's all kinds of other things. All kinds of things that we've missed. Like the two 10 a.m. witnesses, right? That puts Hunter over at the house much earlier, which would make sense that if he was at the house before 10, maybe there was, the law or somebody over there between 8 and 10. So I'm banking on those DoorDash receipts and Murphy's impound copy. Hunter and Emily said they were in bed. In the documentary, they did. In the documentary, they say they were in bed, and Hunter wakes up, and Hunter locks the door. But I believe Hunter said that Emily went to bed early, and then she gets up in the middle of the night to go get her phone out of the car. Was that the explanation for a sketchy alleged moving of the phones? I don't know. Hunter grabs the knife from the kitchen. When does he grab the knife from the kitchen? Before, obviously, the cops get there and the body cams are on. And then Emily says it's on the floor. And when did Emily see it if Hunter was already inside and yelling at Dylan and Bethany to get out? When they say that Emily never really entered. So there are a lot of notes that I've taken. I'm rewatching them and will take notes, obviously. Yes, Amanda is very good at that. I wonder if this is the same party that we thought E and X were to have been. Maybe. Apparently, they needed more than 8 hours to get their lies straight and clean and maybe paint or is this just all for show? Moscow will say that's taken out of context. Probably. If it's in the documentary, hurry up and screen record it. Yep, I got the whole documentary. And if they received 911 way early, I thought they still had to respond, even if it was a hang up. I think so too. Very interesting. Their alibi doesn't check out. It doesn't. The tree house is by the Whites. I thought it was the house right next to the Whites. Remember, we kept looking, Amanda, for 620 Taylor, and people were saying, no, it's part of the Whites. I think either somebody typed it wrong or they don't want to expose the house there. It's just so weird. I was so afraid as a teenager. I took him to the local police to meet them, so God forbid they would think he's misunderstanding. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had to get my local police too to understand he's autistic. If you ever get called to my house, and this is why. I don't know why the treehouse is so confusing. Nobody has really let out where this treehouse is. Was it something that overlooked the whole area? Where is this treehouse? That is a loose end that we will definitely go down because, you know, cases don't fall apart because of what we know. They fall apart because what's left unfinished. Left unfinished. Yeah, where is the treehouse? Who knows the answer? The people in the area, knew where the treehouse is. Where is let's just see if I can find it in Moscow, Idaho. I don't even know if it's actually a location or if it's something. The treehouse is a cabin? Yeah, that doesn't make sense. The treehouse is a cabin. I don't know. Has anybody ever found the answer out to the treehouse? I mean, you would have to go there to be able to see. No one's ever explained what the treehouse is. Moy's house could be it overlooked all of them, all of the houses on King. Could that be the party, the treehouse that they were at? Was everybody at this sports party that they talked about why they had sports jerseys on? Possible. Anything's possible in this case. I thought it was 619 too. 619 Taylor Avenue. I thought it was, yeah, I definitely thought it was too. This house right here, let me share my screen. Since we're doing a live dig, here we go. I thought this was the treehouse. 100%. Let's see if it pops up here. And this is White Pine Property Management. It's the greenhouse that looks like a treehouse to me, right next to Taylor. Right behind is the Queen Road Apartments. Easily walk. But here's the deal. If they were at this party and they went to the treehouse, it would be easy just to walk behind there. So if you look, hold on one second, let me grab this screenshot. If I'm going to try to grab an aerial so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, that is 619 Taylor Avenue, which I just showed you. And I am going to show you an aerial. Okay, let's see if we can get a shot from above. Let's see if there is one. So super odd. I mean, the only one that can confirm this is those that are at the party, but they never bring forward if it was. All right, here we go. And who actually owned this? It's right behind. It's almost they don't want to say where this was. Who owns 619 Taylor Avenue? Hold on. Is that another, let's see, 619. Let's see who lived there. Alpha Kenny kid, get out of town, Ink Mama. Wouldn't that be freaking wild? No, his mama worked for the Team Idaho. No. Hold on. I'm not even finding much on it. 619. Yes, I'm human. I hate this sometimes. Let's see. It's owner occupied. So how could it be? That's so weird. Potential investment. No, it's owner occupied. That's public knowledge. So maybe it wasn't there, but it looks like oh, does it look like a party house to you? Tree house. That would we'll never know where this party was. So could it have been the Moys? Could it have been? Amanda's looking for it. That is why those girls leave at 3 a.m. Treehouse. Was the treehouse the one with the security cam? There's a back door. Yeah, I'm looking at it. I think we hear a lot because that house is where it's going on. That's why it picked up the audio. See, I was thinking that too. Is the treehouse the 1112 King Road? It's right next door. Remember a year ago, I was told her that it was closer to the 1122 King Road. See, yeah, wasn't there a mattress in the yard? That's crazy, right next to these apartments. Well, remember, some of these houses existed and then they built apartment houses and type in tree house apartments. Okay, let me see. Treehouse Apartments, Moscow, Idaho. Did they rename it? Treehouse Apartments. Treehouse Apartments. Treehouse Apartments says Rathdrum. I don't know. Has anybody heard Charlie U took KGs? I've heard that. These houses are so unstable. They look like apartments. I typed in and they came up. Yeah, I've got Treehouse Apartments. Is that Queen Road? I got something totally different. Let me look in a different device and let me see if it pops up on my other phone. Hold on. Treehouse Apartments, Moscow, Idaho. Treehouse Apartments. Nope. Creekside Manor. Timber Treehouse. Glamping. Townhome Apartments. Treehouse Timber Frame. Nope, I don't see anything. They look rough. Well, where the heck is this? I took a picture of it, but I'm not sure how to send it. You can send it to my inbox on TikTok. You can send it to my email, phoenixtalks@proton.me. Braemar LLC. Some things are right in front of us that we don't know. Is it in Moscow? I have a different picture of the treehouse in my head. Yeah, treehouse, wow. Okay, Amanda's hot on it. She's going to look too. Treehouse. You know, I even looked and went down the rabbit hole. Reddit. I looked all over. So somebody may be able to tell us. Treehouse Apartments. I see that in Boise, Idaho. North Star. All right, Amanda will definitely do it. If you find it, definitely send it to my inbox and my email, and I will grab it and we'll share it on the stream. So, one thing real quick, let's get into this because I thought this was wild. So, here is what someone sent me. I'm going to read this. I won't name the person. Hello, I've been watching your videos for a long time, and I am a fan of your content and also thankful for putting the information out that, you do. I'm not sure if you've looked into this, but Brian's professor, Professor John Snyder, had an article published in August 2025 describing his prior relationship with Brian. So let me go and find Professor John Snyder, which he actually leads the the government program at WSU that's all over the internet. And here it is. Okay. Describes the professor who drank with the monster, how Brian Koberger's own boss saw the darkest brewing. Let me share this. And we will talk about this. And we'll come back to the Treehouse Apartments. Amanda's got it. Okay. So she goes on to say that there's an Officer Snyder, one of the first responders, and we've seen his, body cam video before. Are they maybe related? I think it's relevant because I believe it's possible that Brian found out something that was going on and told his professor. Maybe didn't know. I also believe that whatever it may have been, maybe some internal corruption, and that his professor could have started constructing a narrative about Brian among the people at WSU to set him up, or planting other people's head about Brian. Okay, let's just dissect this real quick. So here is the article I believe that she was speaking of. It was written by Gregory S. Kane, August 25th, 2025. For most people in Palouse, Washington, John Snyder was the friendliest professor you might bump into at the local bar. He was a type who would spend 3 decades fighting for justice. He was the ex-public defender. And he settled into academia to pass on what he knew to the next generation. Well, many of us did know that, right? So, hold on one second. Let me grab this. Now, live digs are a little slow. We're digging for information. This is anything we come across. This is for entertainment purposes, right? Everybody has their own views. We are all sharing different information. So John Snyder and Washington. I did a little search, and let's just read on this article. So, but in the fall of 2022, Snyder found himself in the orbit of evil, talking about Brian Koberger. And Snyder found himself, he was a teaching assistant, his teaching assistant in Washington State University, Criminal Justice and Criminology Department, which he leads the government part over there at the government lab, was Brian Koberger, the man who would soon be arrested for the brutal stabbing deaths of the U of I students. Okay. What year was he born? How old is he? John Snyder. John Snyder. Where? Let me just do a real quick search, because in the ISP documents, it does give his date of birth. I think it was 60 something. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it real quick online. WSU professor. Birthday. WSU professor, 30 years, public interest, 1998, he worked in Cody, Wyoming. All right, let me just pull this up. Doesn't say when his birthday was. Studied in Wyoming, University College of Law. Okay, so this is, I guess, John Snyder's Facebook. He's a professor at WSU Pullman, attorney itself, University of Wyoming, College Law of Idaho, from Cody, Wyoming. All right, let's see if there's any birthday on here. No, married. Work, education, studied college law, Cody, Wyoming. Son, Matt Snyder. So there's only one son that's listed. And he's a truck driver at Odom Corp, studied at LCSC. Details about John, nothing. Life events, probably nothing. Friends, here are his friends. Let's see. Probably nothing of interest except for Nancy Gilliard, abolish ICE. Interesting. Andy Boyd, Nelson, Mary. Of course, he's the former prosecutor. He's probably got to know a lot of people. Patty Snyder looks like maybe independent demonstrator. Oh, Stampin' It Up. It's probably like scrapbook keeping. I remember that. Okay. Smith. I'm sure he's got a lot of people up here. Store, Kavanaugh, Gaylord, Montgomery, Mueller. UCLA, journalism. Okay, not much going on here. Not much. Whitman County District Court, Grateful Dead. Yeah, I think we found the right guy. Okay, so Palouse, Boosters, alumni, Cowboy Wyoming football, Whitney J. portraits, the Congress, gluten-free restaurants. Okay, so it doesn't say anything about his birthday. Nothing about his birthday, which is really strange. So if he went to University of Wyoming in 1983, let's just say he went at the age of 19. So 1983 minus 18, maybe 65. So he was probably born in 1965. So let's just take a look at this article. And at the time, Snyder thought he was just saddled with an arrogant, socially tone-deaf graduate student. I quickly figured out he was a bit of a douche. So he's calling Kohberger a douche. Doesn't say alleged, it says he called him a douche. And within a few weeks, I realized this was going to be an exceptionally long semester. All right, so John Snyder is drinking with a friend, Brad Pierce. His douche of a teaching assistant was a mass murderer, Brian Kohberger. Interesting. So, talks about his first brother-in-law, then his son, then Moscow police, all at the time were the same shocking news as teacher assistant. Brian Kohberger had been arrested for the murders. All right, so it doesn't say much about his family. Other than he's in his mid-60s, which I obviously just said. Preparing to retire, he says it's not just Kohberger, decades of trenches that have worn him down. He chooses to live. I guess he was shocked too. Now, this guy had some connections, guys, right? This guy has some connections, being the former prosecutor and also the professor at WSU, and he also leads the government department, right? I don't know if he's going to retire or when he's going to retire. Beth, thank you so much. She says free BK. I agree. Like I've said from the beginning, if he is factually innocent, truly innocent, they need to let an innocent person go. So, Professor John Snyder, I've shared this before, he leads the government lab. Let's see if they removed this from the web. No, they haven't. Okay, great. Here we go. And he leads the Division of Government Studies and Services and the Criminal Justice Department at WSU. So that's what he does. Okay. So, what does you can go down this rabbit hole? We've talked about this before. Okay. Um, what is BK Norton? I don't know what that question is. But BK Norton, who has inserted Bryant into the home invasion investigated that was even in Washington. But BK Norton, who inserted Bryant into the home invasion investigation that occurred 4 months. I don't know anything about that, so let me look into this. Midas Star Officer Snyder. Yeah, I don't think they're related, and we're getting there. So he's got a son who's a truck driver, and let's see, he probably, let me look and see if there's a public address. Okay, let's just see if there's a public address. Yeah, there is one. I mean, everything's public on the internet, right? John Snyder. Let me just dig into this. Let's see if he's got any relatives online. And it doesn't look like but one. So him and his wife only have one child. And I don't believe that the surname Snyder and Officer Snyder are related. So, I don't know. There's a lot of people who started some crazy rumors this whole entire time. And I think I might have started that rumor. Rolo. That's why we're digging into all the loose ends, okay? All right. So, let's just take a little gander down this little lane and let's see if any of these guys in the 65 range has a son named. Does anybody know what Officer Snyder's first name is? I can go and look. Moscow Police Department. I think I have it right here too in these Ryan. So Ryan is officially, it says Seattle, but that would be a long drive, right? That would be a definitely long drive to drive every single day into Pullman to teach. That just seems like a long, long way. Unless he has retired. That would be a long way to drive in there. That is crazy. Let me see, Professor WSU. Ryan Snyder, I mean, this is just, I mean, I could share this. It's public, right? He made $91,000. That's what in 2022. Ryan Snyder, obviously, he's got an extensive job background, and he also is the police corporal with the K9 division. $91,000 in that little tiny town. I thought it was his nephew. Oh, well, I mean, I could go ahead and look and see if John Snyder has a brother. Hold on. That could be a possible relation. Let me see what I find. So, according to Ryan Snyder's salary, it increased by 22%. $16,000 raise in 1 year. The average hire is 45% higher than some of the other cities. Wow. Patrol officer K9 and a police sergeant in 2024. Okay, so let me just take a look at this. This guy is 65. 65. And he's got some relatives. Could be a relative. Let's just say not a son. Ryan Snyder, Moscow. Let's just say he could be related by maybe an uncle or something of that nature. Are they out to frame him? I doubt it. But, you never know if maybe some information was given. I mean, we are still trying to figure out how in the world they got his name, because they were hot on, JD. They were hot on number one suspect was JD. It's the body cam footage, December 30th to 31st, when the FBI was minutes away from kicking in the door. I have never seen that footage. Never seen that footage. So Ryan Snyder is, does he live in Hayden? I thought you had to live in the city of Moscow before you could have a police job. But I could be wrong. I mean, most departments like you to live in the city you work in. And could it be Ryan Snyder? What is his first? I mean, he could be related, maybe an uncle or something of that nature, but do I think it? I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff. I've seen some crazy stuff, but that doesn't mean that one person is corrupt. 80 people are going to be corrupt, right? In the same, I mean, that would be a massive cover up. So, I mean, logically, could it be done? Yeah, but that would have to keep a lot of people quiet. A lot of people. Does anybody know what his middle initial is? Ryan Snyder. Ryan Snyder, police sergeant, city. When he went to Oregon Institute of Tech. Oh, he was with Pi Chi International Honor Society. So we have learned that Ryan Snyder is probably a frat. Okay, activities and societies. So he's part of this, international society. Chapters and members. Is that Psi Chi Honor Society? Is it International Society? In psychology, with over 1,100 chapters and 75. What is Psi Chi? Oh, let's watch this. Let's see if this is actually legit. I'm a little curious.
What is Psi Chi Honor Society?
Hold on a minute. Just went big screen. No, don't.
Part of Psi Chi Honor Society Foundation, a trusted authority in the honor society space, will walk you exactly through what Psi Chi is. So what are the requirements to be a part of Psi Chi? Undergraduates must be enrolled in a major or a minor in a psychology program, have completed at least 3 semesters of college coursework, completed at least 9 semester credit hours specifically in the field of psychology, have earned a cumulative GPA that places them in the top 35% of their class, and have a minimum of a 3.0 for all of their psychology courses. For graduate students, the requirements are fairly similar, except that all graduate students must maintain at least a 3.0 in all of their graduate school courses to be a member. But what is the history of Psi Chi? Psi Chi was founded in 1929, meaning it's coming up on its 100th birthday. It is the International Honor Society for Psychology. Psi Chi is one of the largest honor societies in the United States, having more than 1,150 chapters. Psi Chi has inducted more than 750,000 members since its inception. These memberships range from the United States to Canada to a number of other countries. But what are the key benefits of being a member of Psi Chi? Well, Psi Chi membership is definitely an honor that can be noted on employment applications, resumes. New members are also presented with a certificate of membership. Statistically speaking, more students continue on with their education when they're in an honor society of this nature versus students who are not. Students are also able to apply for assistance when wanting to travel to conventions or society-related functions. These meetings outside of the classroom with their peers in the field, as well as mentors and teachers within the field, are extremely valuable to a student's lifetime experience in this field. So based on the information that we just discussed, here is our review. Our first observation is that Psi Chi is one of the largest honor societies in the United States with more than 1,150 chapters. Our second observation is this society regularly hosts conventions, giving their members opportunities to rub elbows with peers, mentors, and other important people in this field who may be able to mentor the students as they currently are, or may be able to get them a job after graduation. Our third observation is that this is a niche society for psychology students, which I always say has pros and cons in terms of your alumni network, maybe a more personal alumni network, maybe a more familiar alumni network.
Okay, so I've heard enough of that. I think we get the hint that Ryan Snyder he was a part of, obviously, the Honor Society, but it's very interesting. He got his degree in psychology and then becomes a policeman on the K-9 unit. So that is really strange. And he was a scholar athlete. I don't know too many people that go into psychology and end up becoming policemen. Interesting. Very interesting. And then a K-9 handler. Wow. Very interesting. Psychology in this Idaho 4 has been wild. I'll just say that. Okay. Jack Showalter is standing behind B.K. Norton when she shows up beside the hospital. Molly Michael's blood withdrawal was minutes away from Brian Koberger's house before it was kicked down. Usually you don't see it. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so when we're looking at this, is he a relative? Maybe. Let me go down another rabbit hole. Let's just see if I can find him on, I doubt it. Most policemen are not on social media, but I haven't seen any other awards other than what's in the annual police department information with Ryan Snyder. So I am wondering if maybe there is a distant relative. And the only reason I would say that is he went to school for psychology, and now he's working as a policeman. When, if there is some type of relation, that was a big jump. Don't you think? Big jump. Let's see if I can find anything else that is public record that would show a connection. There is a lot of stuff on Facebook. Dog sniffing dog. Ranger. Ragnar, sorry. He joined in May 2022. May 22. I don't really see anything on Ryan Snyder. Doesn't mean they're, can't be distant cousins or has somebody on the police force that put in the good word for him and he took a job back in where he wanted to be. A lot of people do that. But it looks like he was in the area, Oregon Institute of Technology, and psychology background, jumped into police department. Now he's a police sergeant and pretty high up there. He doesn't even have credentials to qualify to be an officer. So odd. I mean, criminal justice. I mean, it depends on some police departments want clean backgrounds, any degree. It doesn't have to be in justice, doesn't have to be anything related to law. And, I'm just, wow, I'm shocked. Does he know somebody in the area that maybe got him a job? Absolutely. I mean, it's possible. You got to know somebody, you rub arms, you go to these honor society, like she just said, it's possible that, you know, he got a job by somebody that said, hey, I know him, give him a job. So are they related? Maybe distant. I don't know. Not direct, I would say, in my humble opinion. And yes, the news just came across that the ex-husband in the Idaho unalivers was just arrested. So thank you for that, Caleb. It just came right across my stream. Wow, that was pretty quick too. I saw a uh, I saw a ex police officer basically say today and us crime fighters because we already told you what happened in this story before it even happened. So he was joking around, trying to say that, just to be funny. Funny. Okay. So check out Insta Caleb sent some stuff on the brat. Okay. I don't know. I'm not gonna make any comments about that. That is a whole other loose end. Um, I just you can't believe everything that you see, right? You just can't believe it. Let me look at this person and see if this had anybody. Nope, don't see it. Let's see if it was Oregon. I don't see any relation in Oregon. And all this is public search. You can go and look. Yeah, we definitely stick with facts that are verified. And I don't see any relation. Let me see if there is I think his middle initial is P. I remember seeing it somewhere. Brian P. Snyder. Let's see. I mean, I can't say for sure if they're related, but I mean, it is a plausible theory in this person that sent me this. It is a very plausible theory, right? That maybe that Brian was doing something that the professor set him up, and then obviously all this stuff happens because they're ignorant to how autism looks. The timing of him being pulled over seems aligned with this. I am making that connection because I believe that is how they got Dutch DNA. Now, if they were going to frame someone and get his DNA months ahead of time, that seems like, wow. Wow. I don't know. That seems a little far, but I think it's a bit random. But I've always been struck by Brian Koberger in the Costco in Clarkston. The way he walked in gave me the impression he had previously been able to do that. It seemed odd how he knew where to glance at the camera for a brief moment. It made me start looking into who worked there, and maybe it seemed that he was on a mission to meet someone or do something. I discovered there is a Parker Wilson who worked at that Costco. All right, so let's go down this rabbit hole. Parker Wilson, Costco, Idaho. Let's just go see. Parker Wilson at Costco. I work at the front end of the registers. All right. Let's make it happen. Now, this is weird. My name is Parker. I'm 28 years old from America. I graduated the University of Idaho in 2015 with a bachelor's in marketing And from there, I went to Washington State University, where I received my MBA with analytics focus. During the MBA, we worked and understand coding languages in writing SQL, Java, HTML, Tableau. We also worked on search engine optimization, but most of the experience I got on SEO was done through working with the industry experts and teaching myself. So I helped design and format a website. Okay, so he says he's from Taiwan and his name's Parker Wilson. All right. Data analysis, open to work hybrid, Lewiston, Idaho, Clarkson, Washington, United States, Spokane. Flexible, I'm usually looking for work. Front end associate in Clarkston. Skateboarding coach, director, university degree in marketing, skateboarding club, HR management classes. My memories were 1 in a million. University of Idaho. I don't know about this guy. I don't know. Let me see. Hold on. Parker Wilson, Costco, Idaho. Let me just take a look at something. Nope, not that guy. That is the only Parker Wilson that I find at Costco. There is no other mention of him other than on LinkedIn. I think that this maybe, I don't know, this looks like a fake profile to me. I don't know, because it says, it says Taipei City, Taiwan. But it says that he's at Costco Wholesale in Idaho. 12 followers. 1 year ago. It says 1 year. I don't know about this. It looks like this is a bogus. And then they say that they tried to connect Parker Wilson, who worked at Costco, with Officer Rosendahl, who graduated from St. Andrews College, which Doug Wilson founded. New St. Andrews Church. New St. Andrews College. New St. Andrews.
Have real questions about college. If I were a brief history of New St. Andrews College, by the time we knew it, my daughter was in her senior year, and we began to have real questions about college. If I were to deduce the collective vision for your average Christian college, going off the mailers they were sending out to all the promising students, I would conclude that the point of Christian higher ed was to ride horses, make lifelong friends, and eat pizza. We knew that we had to look outside the current options in higher education. We wanted something more. So we started New St. Andrews College. This was our first class, and there's my daughter. Our inspiration came from different directions. We wanted something like the curriculum of 17th century Harvard. We wanted a Christian variation on a great books program. We wanted a restoration of a dedicated liberal arts curriculum and not the smorgasbord approach to electives and majors, not take any government money for any reason. We could see that the compromises many schools were making could be traced back to their reliance on government funds. The motivation was to plant a reformed Christian college in the liberal arts tradition that would be free to pursue a rigorous education for our students in the light of God's revelation. Our vision is to impart that kind of robust education to your children in such a way that they own it, embrace it, internalize it, and understand it far better than we have done. They will then be in a position to turn around and educate the generation that is to come after them. This year, NSA graduated its first legacy student, my daughter's oldest son. We want to invite you to an education in the Lord that you, your children, and your children's children share, one that equips you to build families, businesses, and cities that honor the Lord. 27 years ago, we took the plunge. We didn't know then what we know now, but what we did know, we decided to act on. And as you act on what you know, one of the usual results is that God in His grace gives more light. Faithfulness requires no less and can be summed up in that great prayer, Geronimo, Amen. I'm Douglas Wilson, and I founded New St. Andrews.
All right, interesting video. So it is an alternative college source out in Moscow. Trying to find some other reviews that would be somebody else not speaking of it, but somebody who went there. Rankings. Here is the college. Undergrad, student life. Liberal arts. Let's see what he has to say about this. I'm not signed in. Let's see if I can find another one. Hold on. Let's go right there. And back. St. Andrews College. Hey, if you're just coming in to hang out with us, we're just doing a live dig about some loose ends. Let me see if anybody gives a review on it. Don't be a steer. Has anybody looked into these? Has anybody looked into this college? Holy moly. What in the world am I gone down? Don't be a steer. Don't be a steer. Wheaton College. Let's see. Sounds like it's a lot of political stuff going on. That's what it sounds like to me. Lots of political. Someone says, I'm always loving live digs. Got here. Did we ever find the tiny tree house? The tree house. Amanda's looking into that right now. Amanda is looking. Yeah, it's heating up. Let's see if I can share this. So this is a video somebody wrote. Don't be a steer. New St. Andrews College. Let's watch it. I'm curious to see what they have to say.
Imagine a Christian college so desperate for worldly approval that congratulating an alumnus causes an institutional crisis. C.S. Lewis wrote that modern education is designed to create men without chests. In our ghastly simplicity, we castrate and bid the geldings be fruitful. But not at New St. Andrews. We don't aspire to be the evangelical Harvard, selling our spiritual birthright for a pot of pious platitudes and federal financial aid, or doubling down on DEI until we are DEAD. Tucked away in the chimney of Idaho, surrounded by rolling wheat fields, pine forests, and fully intact bulls, we offer a Christian liberal arts education for outlaws and pirates. We don't feed the victimhood that afflicts young snowflakes, and we refuse to be manipulated by activists wielding their skin color and pronouns, or nice guys wielding their respectability and angst. And when the French are storming the Bastille, we won't tuck tail and run from empathetic mobs. No, we won't be steered by the emotional sabotage of the left, because we're anchored to the Word of God. Our aim is to graduate leaders who shape culture under the Lordship of Christ. And when the Lord elevates them to positions of power, we'll celebrate the men and women of courage that we've launched into the cultural melee that surrounds us. We'll even congratulate faithful alumni of other institutions. So congratulations, Russ. You too, Pete.
But redemption is real.
And JD, tell Margaret we said hi.
I don't really care, Margaret.
New St. Andrews College. Don't be a steer.
Wow. Wow. This sounds like some political, heated up stuff. Is this why Trump said no, nothing? Could this be the root of Idaho 4? Could it be? I'm just saying. You know, there was Stickergate. There was some other things happening. They did win the lawsuit. I mean, is it even possible? Wow, this is wild. Okay, so this is why we're looking at loose ends. Don't be a steer. A bunch of bull. Wow, well, we need balance in the world, but I don't think that, I'm taking that as a, they're raising up this type of individuals. Is that what they're doing? Wow. We wowed at the same time. Wow, I just can't believe what I just watched. I mean, it's all over the internet. Anybody could go search, but I mean, obviously somebody sent me this message and said, could this, obviously be all part of this whole thing? So, Brian was very open about his religion. He didn't want to even entertain the thought of, flirting with a married woman. And that woman in the college got a little upset, and she was married, right? I know Brian's sister said she drew the black heart. If you Google its meaning, well, let me go Google black heart. Black heart. She's saying that I think it can mean a lot of things, right? I definitely think so. But a black heart emoji often means love or affection, but with a twist, it can be sad or gloomy love. It's associated with themes of loss, rebellion, and heartache. Also, dark emotions or attitudes. So she told me it could mean corruption. So let me ask it in another way. Does a black heart mean corruption? Let's just see what it says. Not really. Okay, so those loose ends, there was some truth to what I was sent. As for the families, I'm perplexed. And I never had a message from this person ever before, and they sent me this message. So I wanted to do a live dig and see if any of this was true. So I think we've debunked maybe 2.5 of the things that were said. There's no connection. That guy in Costco that she said worked there looks a little sketch because it has where he lives in Taiwan. I don't know about that one. How could he work there unless he lived there now and worked there before? Brian's sister actually said that it wasn't a black heart. What did she say? It was a dark heart with vibrant colors. Let me just grab that article and it's on my posts on my channel. So let me grab this post because there is a link I posted that doesn't have a paywall to this article. So let me grab it. Where is it? Okay, post. Let's grab this thing and let's read this. Let's read this real quick. Here it is, paywall. Oh crap, where did it go? Hold on. The guy who wrote the article, Mike, he is pretty interesting guy. Here it is, the New York Times. All right, let's get into it. Here we go. Nope, continue maybe later. All right, let me find this heart reference. Mr. Koberger holding a paper heart she painted. This one said, the sketch appeared to be a dark heart. She said it was a heart surrounded by vibrant colors that she herself had drawn for her brother. So she says it's dark. And I don't see the sketch. Did they put it in here? No. Let me see. Dark heart, Brian Koberger sentencing. Let me just see this. She doesn't say what it means. I wish she would have addressed that. Let's see. You know, the one he has at the table. Let's see if anybody else talked about it. I know a lot of people said it was him that drew it. No, how come I can't find a picture of it now? That is so weird. Oh, here it is. Okay, here's the picture. Well, it is a dark heart. It doesn't say if it's black, but it does say it's a dark heart by vivid colors, which kind of looks to me, and this is just my opinion, it looks like it's kind of like aura, right? Like colors that feed off of that. I mean, I thought at first it looked like a purple heart to me and maybe signified somebody else that had been brought up in this before. Don't know. I'm watching the chat. I'm looking at what you guys are typing. I just haven't comment on anything. I just not going to go into this. Brett Norton does live on the East Coast in a state that has 2 letters. Abbreviated. And I know her real name, but I'll just leave it at that. And I'm not friends with her, nor do I want to associate with her. So I will just leave it there. And whatever else that you guys say about her is your opinion only. Okay. She said it was purple. I thought it was purple too. I thought she said it was purple, but in this article, it just says it was dark. Didn't say it was purple, which is kind of odd because, I mean, I remember I was thinking it was purple. Interesting. Okay, so let's do this. It could be a heart for autism, absolutely. But don't you think you would have made puzzles? I mean, I don't know about that. But let me show you something that I found interesting. I've always questioned, and I will show you live so that you know exactly where I got it from. I always question on Instagram one of the pictures, just one, in Kaylee's Instagram. I've always questioned this photo. And the only reason I question this photo is because of a certain location that was tagged. And here is that photo. This photo states Kaylee Gonzalez at WSU Pullman. That's what was tagged. Okay? And it says Do you even go here? ? Springfest. Okay. So this was 403 weeks ago from today. Let me see. 403 weeks ago would be Saturday, April 2018. Okay. So Saturday 2018. And when was Springfest in Pullman? WSU Pullman. Let's do a live dig. Springfest. Let's say 2018. Let's see. 2018 was Saturday, April 21, 2018. Holy crap. Okay. The annual Springfest, Saturday, April 21, 2018, 4 to 10 p.m. That was on their events. And then when I go over and I say 403 weeks ago from today, what date is it? It says Saturday, April 21, 2018. Okay, so that kind of solidifies a little bit of what I'm thinking. But if I go back over to her picture, she says, do you even go here? Springfest butterfly with lightning bolts. Okay, 420. All right, so this one says it was the 21st, April 21st. But I'm thinking, and I'm looking at this, what balcony is this? Did she go to WSU, guys? Was she ever enrolled at WSU? And this girl is Maddie Mogan. Nineveh Davis. She tagged Maddie Mogan and Nineveh Davis. Nineveh is Maddie Mogan and Kaylee's very good friend. Like best friends, all three of them. I did a little researching on that. But was Kaylee ever enrolled at WSU? Is that even possible? I mean, why would she take a picture? And then someone said, could this be the same apartment building as BK? Definitely the WSU in the tag. Does this person go to WSU? That would make sense. That would mean a girl's quote. Okay, so she tagged this person as Maddie Mogan. I mean, why would you tag somebody as Maddie Mogan if that's not Maddie Mogan? I'm just questioning. Just questioning. That's all. That's not Maddie Mogan. And these two girls look a lot alike. Have you guys ever looked at these two girls and kind of benchmarked them? So this is Nineveh Douglas. She looks a lot like Kaylee, sorry. She looks a lot like Kaylee, in my humble opinion, in some of her pictures. They were all good, three really good friends. I know it's not Maddie Mogan, but she tagged her. Maybe it was a mistake. Don't know. I don't know, but they obviously were good friends. And in some of these pictures, she does look a lot like Kaylee. I couldn't get over how much she looked like Kaylee. I mean, she's got some videos up there. They went to school together. I mean, they've got some pictures up there. They were all really good friends. I just couldn't get over how much in some of these pictures that she did look like Kaylee. It's wild. So, I mean, you can go down this rabbit hole. I was just a little curious. In the older pictures, definitely. You can go down and, go look. I mean, it's kind of wild when you go back to the earlier pictures of all three of them. You can see that, they kind of look alike. But that was definitely not Maddie that was tagged, but I don't know why she tagged as Maddie Mogan. You can go down that rabbit hole. You can definitely go down that rabbit hole. That's Maddie. But I just thought that was really odd. But enjoy your day. And let me do this before I go. I'll give you guys like 5 minutes. Is there a rabbit hole, a live dig, loose end that you've always wanted to know the answer to that maybe we can go ahead and get to the answer, get to the bottom? Did this person go to WSU? It says she went to Nashville, CDA, Phoenix. Let's see what this says. Did she go to WSU? I don't know, but it looks like they're at WSU for this festival. Did she go to WSU? That's a great question. Let me look. Nineveh Douglas. Let's see if it says that she went to WSU. I'll see if I can find anything publicly. Here's a LinkedIn. Let me see. Nineveh Douglas. There's a Facebook. Nineveh Douglas. This is one of the ones that I was saying that how she looked alike. There's a lot of interesting pictures out there on the internet, folks. There's a Facebook page that shows a lot of interesting things. It says it's honoring Kaylee Jade, but these pictures in here, I mean, some of these things I've never seen before. There are pictures. I gotta turn off the volume. Pictures I've never seen before. So maybe they're family, friends. Yeah, they're pretty young in some of these pictures though. They look like a lot like each other. You know, but you can go down that rabbit hole if you want to. Probably just tagged her to see the picture. Maybe, I don't know. But Kaylee was in it, but not Maddie. Wait, did they quote mean the girls were tagged? Sorry, I missed what was said. No, that picture was tagged as Maddie, but it wasn't Maddie. It was actually Kaylee. So maybe one of those things that, just made a mistake, hit the wrong person. But K and M are not close together if you're going to tag a person. So I don't know. I said puzzle pieces. I said, hey, Teresa, good to see you. Bodie WSC student. BK Bodie. Can we trace E and X whereabouts? They still have never have said, and we don't have any tracking. No tracking, no nothing. There is nothing released, and I don't think they would ever release the 27 data packets that they have giving, people's phone locations out. I don't think they ever will, in my humble opinion. Don't think it's going to happen. Here's another thing. Here's one other thing that I thought about last night. Wild. Okay, so, we can go through the unredacted, data that they sent to everyone, basically, in the court documents, right? So as I'm looking at the unredacted court documents and the biologic reports, they swabbed over, I don't know how many people, 20 something people. And I'm thinking that the data packets that equaled 27 may have been the 27 people that it swabbed for DNA. Okay. And most of these people gave up their DNA. They weren't used by search warrant, right? They didn't ask them to, sign anything or no warrant, no direct order that they had to give their DNA. These people freely gave up their DNA in regards to a murder investigation. Now, people, I'm just saying this, people are freely giving up their DNA that they're putting in the system and freely giving up their fingerprint swabs. Okay? I don't mean to laugh, but I'm laughing because of all these people that reported that they gave up their genetic DNA. They gave up their fingerprints with no court order. They have now all been placed in repositories, in databases freely. I hope you all are getting this. This is wild. This is wild to me that people had given up God-given DNA and now they're in a system. Now they're in some system. It blew my mind when I started thinking about the 27 packets of DNA that they said they captured around the house. And now these people have freely given up their DNA and their prints and are all in some system. Now, I'm not saying these people are criminals. I'm just saying that because of this investigation, people walked in and they wanted to show that they were not responsible, that they were innocent, but they didn't have a warrant, they didn't have a court order, and then they just all got what? Fingerprinted and swabbed freely. If you ever are questioned, ever, I don't know if that's something that I would give up. Illegal search and seizure. This is like a catch-22. Remember, we don't give out any free legal advice or anything like that. We are not attorneys. But I noticed 27 data packets. I wonder if they went to all 27 of these people and they wanted to get their prints, wanted to get their DNA. Exactly. That's a difference. Now, if you're in, you go to the military, they take your DNA, they take your fingerprints, they take everything. Okay? They take everything. But I will say, if you go to an employer, even the civil service, I still had to go through my fingerprints. I worked for the government. Even if you have to go to work for a hospital, some, require fingerprints because they do background checks. They want to make sure you're not in the system. But by doing that, you freely give up. You freely give it up. You freely give it up. Rolo, I have watched you in the chat and I've seen you comment over and over again about this individual that I am not going to talk about. I don't get into things that can't be proven. And it's just very difficult for my chat to see this over and over again. I appreciate it. I appreciate the videos that you do. One thing I will say is that I try to back up everything with facts and evidence, and I have not seen any home invasion investigation. I've not seen any official documents on this, and I've never seen a body cam with Jack Showalter. So if you can enlighten me and maybe tag me or send one of my mods the videos, we'll go ahead and take a look at it. But until I actually see something, I won't talk about it, especially in a live dig. Okay, so if you can do that, I'd be greatly appreciated. It's before Brian's home was about to be raided by the FBI and PA. I've never seen any video on Brian Koberger's raid. FBI raid video. Let's just see what we can find online. Let's see. Let's see if I can find anything on YouTube. College murders. College. No. Koberger wasn't alone. No, there was a girl walking with him, which my source told me a long time ago it was her at the store with him, which proved to be correct. I don't see any footage, unless somebody has footage. That I've not seen yet. So I will take a look at it as soon as somebody tags me or sends it to me. I've never seen it. And with that, let me do this one last thing. There is something that, let me go right over here to YouTube. Let me check this out. We have not listened to this. I know it's minutes. So before we go, let's listen to this interview with Ava Wood and let's see what she has to say.
Okay. Can I get your first name, please?
My last name is.
Is it your legal first name or
Yes.
for something else?
No, it's
Okay.
my legal name.
And your date of birth?
No, 2001.
And your address?
Which one? My Moscow address or
Moscow.
Moscow, Idaho.
And the phone number? Okay. And is your license in Idaho or a different state? Okay. All right. So what we're trying to do is get a timeline of any kind of timeline that anyone can give us of the events from last night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What interactions did you have with anyone that lives on that 1122 King Road address?
I had zero interactions with any of them. I
Okay.
work with the football team, so I was working in the
Okay.
football until I think I got home around 8:45, and ever since then I was at home in bed, and then this morning I heard all of the ambulances and everything. And I saw out my window a few of my close friends standing there, and I've had to do this a few years back with the borderline shooting in Thousand Oaks when a mass shooter came in, and so it's just like an instant replay. So seeing them standing there with the white blankets, I just knew something was wrong. So I walked out and brought more blankets out there and just sat there and comforted them. And then that's kind of when we found out everything. I still don't really know what's going on.
Okay. Do you know like any of the people that live there, like Ethan and Xana?
So I know that Ethan and Xana and Maddie Mogan and Kaylee Goncalves, they were all four pronounced dead, I believe.
Do you know those four?
Yes.
Okay. Are you fairly close to them?
Yeah.
Is there anything that you can shed a light on that might lead us in a direction to find somebody who might do something like this?
So I was actually on the phone with my dad, and I've been talking to him. So a few weeks ago, at about 1:30 in the morning, what sounded to be a man started walking up my stairs and tried to open my door. This was on October, let me see. October 15th.
Okay.
No, sorry. October 14th. It was October 14th, that Friday night, when I heard somebody trying to come up my stairs and open my door. And I have a deadbolt and a lock on my door. And the next morning I called my mom and I was like, oh yeah, just some drunk idiot was trying to walk into my house. So I don't know if that could be any relevant information. I did not see this person. I just heard it. I was in my bedroom. But last night on Snapchat, Kaylee had posted a few pictures, one of her and Maddie Mogan at the Corner Club.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last picture that Kaylee had posted on her Snapchat story was her and Maddie Mogan at Grub Truck, which is, I believe, located on Main Street. Yeah. And that was the last thing.
Okay. But yeah, none of the girls have talked to you about any ex-boyfriends, any weird guys, and trying to talk to them inappropriately or nothing like that?
Mm-mm.
Okay. And you don't have any cameras on your apartment?
No, I
Okay.
don't.
All right.
And I didn't hear anything last night.
Okay.
So,
All right. Well, I think that's about all I have for you then.
thank you. I wish I could be
No.
more
Like, you'd be surprised what
little information.
little information could lead us in the direction we need.
Yeah.
Okay?
Should I be concerned that there is somebody out there who's not in custody yet?
As of this time, I still don't have all the information either.
Okay.
We're still trying to get more info.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this is going to be a time-consuming thing, but I would, if I lived up in that area, would I take extra precautions? Yes, I would. Even if there's nothing saying that there's a random person doing this, or is this something that was more directed?
Mm-hmm.
We still don't know yet. But it never hurts to take precaution.
Okay.
So let's see. Let's see what she had to say 5 months ago when Vicky Ward interviewed with her.
I am delighted to have joining me today Ava Wood. Those of you who've read the Idaho 4, my new book with James Patterson about the college murders in Moscow, Idaho, will know that Ava lived next door to 1122 King Road, and that Ava was one of the friends of the 4 victims who went over there on that awful morning of Sunday, November the 13th, 2022, and that you were interviewed by the police. And as we also now know, you'd had your own scary experience in your apartment close to that house a few weeks before that you told the FBI and you told the police about. And I know, you were, were you expecting to be called if this thing on to trial, Ava? Yes.
Yeah.
You were expecting to have to testify?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Unfortunately.
So what I'd love to do is, first of all, let's get your thoughts on Brian Koberger's sentencing last week. What happened in that courtroom? Well, you're in California, right? You did not go for that.
No. Mm-mm.
But first of all, were you surprised to see Emily Allant stand up and testify on behalf of Bethany Funk, one of the surviving roommates?
Yes. I anticipated Emily to potentially speak on behalf of Xana. So when she was the very first person to walk into the courtroom and give the statement on behalf of Bethany, I just felt my heart sank because, Emily is one of my closest friends and I could feel her anxiety through just the camera and through the phone. And it just was not a good feeling seeing one of your best friends having to go do that. But, I'm kudos to her for doing it because it takes such a strong individual to be able to go up there and read a statement, whether that was a personal statement from her or read somebody else's statement on behalf of them.
So, I got to know you and Emily, all of your friend group so well. It's been one of the great privileges of reporting this book. But I didn't know that, I know Emily and Dylan Mortensen were very, very close sorority sisters, right, in Pi Phi. I mean, that's why Dylan had reached out to Emily that morning.
Mhm.
But so why do you think Bethany reached out to Emily? I think you've told me when we've chatted on the phone that happened literally at the 11th hour the night before, right?
Mhm. I think Bethany trusts Emily. I think Bethany knows or knew that Emily has already been in that courtroom once before when he entered his plea deal weeks prior. So I think that Bethany maybe felt comfortable and confident that Emily was going to be able to keep her composure as much as possible while reading Bethany's statement.
Had Bethany considered doing it herself, do you know?
I don't personally know that question, so I don't want to give any like false information, but I I would assume yes, that she was potentially planning on going to give that statement herself. But I think as obviously the time swindled down to the actual morning or even the night before, I get it. And I understand backing out because your emotional well-being is far more important than going and giving a statement when you maybe just cannot do it.
So, Ava, what did you think as you watched that that hearing? I mean, we had Emily, then we had Dylan, and then we had each of the three families other than the Chapins. I mean, can you walk us through sort of the gamut of emotions you felt watching that and watching him?
Mm-hmm. So obviously there was four different cameras or four different screens that was televised. Two of which were facing him, and two of which were, or one of which was facing the judge, and the other was facing the podium. And obviously, right when it started, and I saw Emily walk into that courtroom, I felt my heart like just sink into my stomach. And I was going through all those emotions of like, okay, I need to gear up at the fact that this is going to be hard. This is something that we are all reliving, not just me, but my friends and the families. We all have to relive this moment. So when I watched Emily and Dylan's victim impact statements, or Bethany and Dylan's victim impact statements, I just was crying through the whole thing. And I was crying because my heart was with my friends. My heart was with those people. And I couldn't imagine the amount of anxiety and overwhelming feeling that they were feeling because I was feeling it sitting on the other side. So watching that was really, really sad for me. Um, and then obviously all the other families that decided to speak and give the statements. At the end of all of it, I felt very numb. Like I almost didn't feel like I had any more tears left to cry. I didn't want to cry anymore over the situation just because it has been so long and I don't want this to continue to ruin my life and consume me. The Gonzalez statements were extremely powerful. I don't think there's any other way to describe that than the word powerful. Olivia was so poised. She kept her composure. She was very matter of fact. She knew exactly what she wanted to say. And if Olivia was my older sister, I applaud her because that was just incredible at the way that she didn't continue to victimize herself. She didn't continue to let the defendant know what chaos he has created in their lives. Instead, she wanted to call him out and almost turn the tables back on him and say, this is the chaos that you created in your life, not mine. So that was pretty impactful in and of itself. And then when Bill Thompson and the judge kind of gave their own statements, that was very gut-wrenching to me, just because I don't believe that a judge would typically give their own opinion in a situation like this. You can tell that a very, very large portion of the nation despises the defendant himself and has nothing good to say. So it almost felt like seeing that judge give his own little statement, and the fact that there was another maybe prosecuting, it was either a defense attorney or a prosecution attorney that has been doing this for over a decade, and he always finds something nice to say about the defendant. And the fact that that person said, I could not find one good thing to say about this human being, really solidified what a monster he is.
But so let me ask you this though, Ava. I mean, I spoke to James Fry, the Moscow police chief, at the time of the murders over the weekend. You know, I've been in constant touch with Steve Gonzalez, who, you know, like you, was very, very proud of his eldest daughter, Olivia.
Wait. Vicky Ward just say she was in touch with the G family. They said that they were no way connected to this book. So who really connected with the G family? That's interesting.
And how she conducted herself in that courtroom. But, James Fry said to me that he's really seldom, if ever, seen such stone cold, immovable lack of emotion on somebody, a convicted murderer's face. And this isn't the first sentencing he has been to, but it really, he said he's never actually seen such evil personified before. That Brian Koberger's lack of emotion. So, and obviously the fear of the Gonzalez family was that, he now goes to prison and he gets to control the narrative in some way by writing a book, by giving interviews. I mean, what was your feeling about that? I mean, you must have thought about it now in the days since.
Yeah. I was not surprised by his reaction at all, considering how many times he has appeared in a courtroom with, his defense attorney, the prosecution, the judge, reading off all these different court documents, all these different charges. He never once showed any kind of emotion. And within the last 2.5 years, when this act had taken place, I knew, and the details that I did know were evil. So I knew that the face behind that act was going to have no sort of reaction to begin with, because he didn't have a reaction when he did the act and tried to keep his composure. So I was not surprised by his reaction. And if anything, I'm kind of relieved that he did it.
Did she see this act? She just said he didn't have any. What the heck? I have to go back a little.
Composure. So I was not surprised by his reaction. And if anything, I'm kind of relieved that he didn't have any kind of reaction, because he does act was going to. And within the last 2.5 years, when this act had taken place, I knew, and the details that I did know were evil. So I knew that the face behind that act was going to have no sort of reaction to begin with, because he didn't have a reaction when he did the act and tried to keep his composure. So I was not surprised by his reaction. And if anything, I'm kind of relieved that he didn't have any kind of reaction, because he doesn't deserve the fame on him being like, oh, wow, this was the first time he showed a different reaction within the last 2.5 years. Like, no, you keep that same reaction that you have, because that's the type of person that you are. So,
I mean, you obviously must have got straight onto the phone with, your friend group, who's all part of this close circle. I mean, I know of the 4 victims, Kaylee was probably the one you knew the best. Is that fair to say? Because, you're an AFI, she was an AFI.
It's a toss-up. I became so close with Xana. She was my rock, and that's how I became so close with Emily. So, I mean, I loved everybody in each different way, but yes, Kaylee was my sorority sister. I did live with her in the sorority house for 2 years, so we did get to know each other on a different level. But then once we moved out into our own apartments, I lived across the street from Xana, so I kind of gained a different relationship with Xana because I was over there 24 hours of the day. Like, I would go over there in the morning and come home at night. So at times I felt like I was an honorary hi-fi, an honorary roommate who was always over at Xana's house. So it's a toss-up between, who was I closer with, but I loved them all individually in different ways, for sure.
So what was, after that sentencing, what was the general takeaway among you all? I mean, do you feel you can now put this behind you? I mean, when something like this happens, I think Dylan Mortensen said it very well. You can't rewind the clock. Something has changed forever. But are you? Did it give you some closure?
Yes.
Hold on a second. So this girl is from Meridian, Idaho. It's more likely she knows the Dylan, Emily, Jack Showalter group that they would hang around with. And obviously, Maddie, Kaylee, and Xana were not from Boise area. Meridian is right, a neighboring city next to Boise. So I find it very interesting. She is now a teacher. And yeah, she was, in fact, an Alpha Phi member. So I find this very interesting while we're watching this video and trying to determine how truthful people are being.
It's good to no longer have to worry about court dates coming up or trial coming up. When all of us are working, it's not easy for us to just take time off of work to go sit in a courtroom where we actually really don't want to be. So I'm just glad that piece of it is over. I do feel that there was some sort of justice that was served, because now he can never do this to anybody else ever again. And if there was a jury and we did go to trial, there could have been a potential for him to get off, or 100, there just could have been so many different outcomes, whereas this one was written on the books. It was set in stone. There's no possibility of him getting out. So do I feel a sense of closure? Absolutely. But there will never, ever be any kind, the proper amount of justice will never be served, ever. So I feel like I can breathe.
Can you share with the people tuning in, and who no doubt will be watching this later as well, why were you being called to testify? Because if people haven't read the book, they may not know the story. What was it that you had that prosecutors thought was important to talk about at a trial?
So it could have been a number of things. I was subpoenaed by the defense, so I would have been having to answer the questions to Ann Taylor. Obviously, I probably would have been cross-examined by the prosecution side as well, but it was either because I was on scene that morning and Ann Taylor wanted to know what I saw that morning, what information was said at the time of the crime scene when we were all sitting outside to try and poke those holes. Or she was calling me because of the relationship of my apartment and I can see directly 1122 King Road. That could have also been another factor. And then the third factor was when I got pulled into the police station the morning of November 13th, the police had asked me during my interview or investigation, was there anything that we need to know about that was out of the ordinary or scary within a certain time frame? And I was like, wait, yes. So on October 14th at about 1:03 in the morning, I have metal stairs that go up to my apartment. So the metal stairs are actually attached to my apartment. So you can hear footsteps and it shakes the entire apartment. So I heard these footsteps coming up my stairs. And I heard my doorknob, because it was a pretty finicky doorknob, and I actually got a deadbolt added to it right when I first moved in, a year prior to this incident happening. I heard my doorknob like trying to open and it was locked. And I at first was a little freaked out, but then I realized it's Moscow. Moscow's safe. I've never had an issue or a fright or a feeling that Moscow was unsafe. So my initial reaction was, this is just somebody leaving a party.
Okay, now I feel like we have been conditioned to believe Moscow is safe when all this happened here, and we don't really know if it's safe, but everyone seems to got the same script.
They're probably intoxicated. It was an accident. They might not know where they're going, or they were just trying to come into my apartment and say hi as an old friend. Then it got me started thinking after the incident happened, what if? It could have been the defendant himself. What if this? So I feel those could have been the three reasons that the defense did subpoena me and want me to testify at trial.
Well, and take us back to that awful morning.
Oh, so they wanted her to go in there and say that allegedly it could have been Koberger trying to open her door, and the prior call before with the underwear being taken out of the car could have been also related. Now I get it.
Why was it that you were outside that house? It was because you looked out your window, right?
And don't you
And
think
you saw,
she would have put
so,
cameras
why don't
up after this incident? Hello? Am I missing the boat here?
through what you did see.
So I woke up 9 o'clock on Sunday and was just getting myself kind of ready. I was cleaning my apartment. I had some homework to do before the following week, which was Thanksgiving break. So I just wanted to catch up on any projects or homework that I had. I made lunch, I made soup, and I was sitting down at my kitchen table to get ready to start my homework.
I made soup. An extra not needed fact.
And I heard sirens. And I was like, oh, I didn't think much of it. But then they kept getting closer and closer and louder and louder. And before I know it, it felt like they were in my apartment. That's how loud it was. So I obviously was concerned and looked outside my kitchen window and saw police officers and an ambulance on King Street and Queen Street, but I didn't see where they were going. So then I went into my spare bedroom and I looked outside and I saw my friends, Emily and Hunter and Dylan and Josie and Bethany, standing outside and clearly distraught. And the first person that I saw was Emily. That's my person. That's my buddy. And it was, the initial reaction was, something's wrong with potentially Emily, and I need to go out there and comfort my friend. I need to make sure that she's okay. And she was cold. I could see that so clearly. So I stopped what I was doing. I had shorts on. I had a sweatshirt. I had sweats on and like a t-shirt. I grab a sweatshirt. I grab my blanket and I run out there. And I didn't lock my apartment. My phone was about to die. And I go out there and I put the blanket over Emily's shoulders and I just like melted her. What?
Sorry, Ava, the internet.
That's okay.
By internet.
Let's see if we can see this, what she's speaking about. I'm going to go to the footage.
And I go out there and I put the blanket over Emily's shoulders and
over Emily's shoulders. Okay, let me go to Law and Crime. That is where you can find the Idaho 4 video. Let me just grab it. This is wild. This has about 1.7 million views already. We're going to go and see if we could see her step out and cover Emily. Let's see. Let's see, about what time was this? So Emily is in, let me see, hold on a minute. What color is she in again? Let me go back. Emily is in the blue shorts, correct? Blue shorts, standing by the door. Let's see. Okay, there's Emily. Is somebody looking out this window? What did Ava say out of her spare bedroom? Okay, there's Emily, and let's see if she's got a blanket around her in the next one. Nope. No blanket. No blanket. The cops have been there for approximately, I don't know, 12 minutes, maybe a little bit shorter than that. Let's see if she's got a blanket on her next.
You know the...
There's the ambulance.
Can you guys...
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me go back. There's some people walking up. Come on. There's some people walking up behind. I don't see anybody with a blanket. That's Bethany right here. Emily's on the other side. Who is this person in this sweatshirt? Okay, let's see.
Go over to the dumpster.
Go over to the dumpster. Isn't that Ava Wood? Am I wrong? Where is she at? I'm just looking for her because I'm looking at her statement. She looked out the window, saw some people, ran over there with a blanket. Let me just go and see if we can see. Yeah, I think that was Jenna. Okay, I don't see anyone with a blanket. No blanket. No blanket. Paramedics are coming up. Let's go a little bit further. No, Emily doesn't have a blanket. Let's see. He's passing out blankets.
Anybody like one for your feet to stand on? Okay, I'll let you. Thanks, man. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
All right, no blanket there. Let's see.
I know she was barefoot, so I was hoping
Still no blanket. They've got yellow blankets. Those look like the yellow blankets they passed out. No blanket, no blanket. Let's see. Let's see if they got
this one. Yeah. Okay.
Same blankets. I don't see any new blankets.
K-A-E-R.
I don't see any new blankets, guys. Let's see. They're all huddled up together. They've got the paramedics' blankets. Anybody have any new blankets here?
Okay.
No new blankets there. They've been out there a while. No new blankets, no new people. Okay, let's see. Any new blankets? Any new people? No. And we're already, gosh, way into it. 40 minutes.
My lights here. I'll be right back.
Okay, let's see if they have any new blankets out here. It's almost been 40 minutes. No new blankets. No new blankets. No new blankets. We're already almost in an hour. An hour in, there's a blanket that looks blue. And when did it show up? When did this blanket show up?
Okay. And then, did you ever pick up your phone to see what time that was? Or? Okay.
Oh, maybe I might have called and asked her what was happening because sometimes.
Okay.
When did that blanket show up?
These are things I'll call her, but I'm asleep, so I don't know if are things. I'm mad for a little.
Okay.
Okay, when did this blanket show up that he has in his hand? Anybody know? Okay, let's try to figure this one out. Where did that blanket come from? I didn't see anybody walk up. A girl brought the one, I think, I don't know who.
You're probably going to be talking to a lot of people, retelling the same story. So...
Am I still allowed to film soon?
we can't hold you forever. Okay, so you're get started, and the detectives will work with you guys to get all of you however we best can. Okay. So you were here last night. What time frame were you here through now? Were you here the whole time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll turn off my lights here. I'll be right back. Okay, do you mind hanging out here, please?
When did that blanket show up?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, no, this guy's voice.
I just want to
Okay.
here with you.
For time's sake and purposes, let's just say the blanket shows up. We see it.
And I just like melted her. What?
Sorry, Ava, the internet. That's okay. Internet problems at the moment. Are you there?
Yes. So can you hear me?
So go.
Okay, I figured it out. Linus brought the blanket.
On. I think you've frozen. Annoyingly. Yes, I can.
So I run
I
out
can.
the.
So
Can you hear me?
hold on a sec. Hold on, everyone.
I'm here.
3, 2, 1. Take 2.
How is your connection? Do you want to?
Wait,
Do you want to? Are you there?
I'm here. I can see you clearly.
I can hear you, but I can't. So you know what? And I can. Are you there?
I'm here.
All right. Well, I don't know why your screen is frozen. My end. But I can hear you clearly.
Okay.
So hopefully it will just catch up. It's quite annoying. It's quite annoying. So go on. Keep explaining
Yes.
what happened.
So I ran out of my apartment. I put.
Yes, she said she brought blankets, but I can't figure out anyone in the body cam that brought blankets. They just magically appear.
The blanket on Emily. Just pretty much melted her down to the floor to sit and hold. So I ran out of my apartment. I put the blanket on Emily, and I just pretty much melted her down to the floor to sit and hold her. And my initial reaction wasn't so much of what's going on.
Okay,
It was
Charlie Brown and Linus brought the blanket. Okay. It was magic. It's a magic flying blanket.
more so to make sure that Emily was okay. And then I started putting the caution tape up. I was in my head about where's this person? Where's this roommate? Who do we need to call? Where's this person? And so it was probably 20 or 30 minutes where we just kind of sat in silence and we were crying. And I was holding Emily, making sure that she was okay, comforting her. And then Hunter came and sat down with us. And so I put the blanket over him too. And finally, at one point, I whispered into Emily's ear and said, "Where's
Hold on.
Zena?"
You know what I'm going to do?
Yes.
She whispered into Emily's ear. I didn't see anyone out there. I must be not watching the same thing. I must have got the wrong memo. I didn't see anybody else out here. I didn't see anyone else out here, guys. She whispered into... Oh my God. Okay. This is just going to drive me wild. Okay, let's see. Let's get back.
Ava, can you see me?
I can see you. Where'd you go? A wild thing.
Oh, it ended. They lost her. Dang. So I found that video on YouTube, and it looks like, let me just take a, hold on. It looks like they lost her. Let me just take a look at this. I'm wondering if she brings her back on because we never got the rest of the story. I feel like that one guy says, here's the rest of the story. What in the world? What happened to her? Playlist. Let me see if there's a playlist. I don't see part 2. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it. Because I want to see the rest of it. I want to see the rest of this. Now you got me started. Ava. Let's see. Ava Wood gives interview about what she's all over the place 3 weeks ago. Wow. Okay, so it got cut off. I don't think she ever finished interviewing her, but it looks like she was on Titanium Built and did another video on her experience. So you guys can go all
welcome.
watch. Maybe she completed it.
But I can hear you clearly.
Oh, okay. So somebody else released it. Hold on. Let me grab part 2. This is part 2. I'm interested to see the rest of this. So hold on one second. Let's see how this works. Well, there is a part 2 that somebody else posted. So there is a channel that posted this, and you can go and watch the rest of it. I don't know what she's going to say in this, so I haven't reviewed this. It's not a direct video. It's on a channel called Titanium Built, and it says finally found part 2 of the interview. So I guess she had a hard time finding part 2 of the interview. Abelwood, Idaho 4, part 2. I don't see where part 2 is, but I guess this is the rest of the video. I don't know what this channel is or who this channel is, so I think I'm gonna have to go down the rabbit hole and try to figure out. It looks like she got it 3 weeks ago. Let me take a peek at this real quick. Let's listen.
To demand answers or demand
Has that
inside the house. I didn't know what to do. And I just remember telling my dad, I have a text message between the two.
you know, why you went over on that awful morning? And it was really because, I mean, the reason Emily would have looked cold was because she had gone over there wearing shorts and a t-shirt, never dreaming that Hunter Johnson would go into that house and find Xana and Ethan dead. I mean, if you were there when the ambulance and the police came, then obviously, I mean, you will have witnessed the fact that the ambulance didn't stay very long, right? Because tragically, there was nothing an ambulance could do.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've never heard of this channel, but if you guys want to watch part 2, go and watch part 2. I encourage you guys to try to figure the rest of this out, because I don't see any person that resembled, unless maybe this person is. I don't know who this person is or who this guy is that shows up in this other sweatshirt.
No issues? Everybody got along?
But I guess they were told to leave, maybe, or decided to get out of there. They walk away. I didn't see them bring anything. They just showed up. Yeah, they showed up from the opposite side, so.
And then I was talking to you about
probably coming over to see what's going on. Okay, so, I mean, highly go and research for yourself. Go and see if any other thing that Ava Wood jives with the actual body cam. I'm just wondering, Amanda B has shared part 2 right there. Let me see. I can't copy and paste when it's like that. I have to type it all out. Was that with True, or what was it called? Titanium V or something like that? That's weird. Why would cops chase away potential suspects? I don't know. I don't know if those are suspects or not, but they had them walk away. Let me see if I can get this up here, Amanda. YouTube.com live. I got to type it out. Live.wsu UVBIXGK XGK SI equals 6P CLVYN underscore PW 6 ASPN. See if it pops up. Yep, it was on Titanium Built. Okay, I popped that whole thing in there. I typed that whole thing out and it took me to the Titanium. Okay, y'all. Thanks for being here today. If there is a live dig loose end that you want me to take a look at, send me a message. I just looked at all 7 of the points that individual sent me, and 3 of them turned out to be factual, that we could actually say yes. And let me just take a peek at this real quick. I just got a message where we were live. Hold Hold on, let me listen to see what it says.
So I just found.
Okay, for those of you who are here, you are going to hear this first before I even announce it. Jessica, the real Jessica Rains that was on last night with me as a special guest, she is coming back as a special guest. We're going to work out the details of when, but she is going to be a special guest and we are going to have a live call in. We're going to do a live call in. What do you all think about that one? If you've got questions to ask, you can do a live call in right here on this channel. Look for the announcements under my post in my YouTube channel. If you are not subscribed, you definitely want to do that. And I think I'm going to have maybe an exclusive live with her to go over some of a more intimate member only questions. I love her energy. I love her intuition. I love her insight. And I love the questions that she asked. She is asking the unthinkable questions. Absolutely. I sent an email, a picture of the treehouse to your email. Let me see if I've got it. Blue Devil 95. Let me just check it out. Let me check it out. No, I haven't gotten any email. Shoot. It is Phoenix Investigates at proton.me. So Phoenix, all spelled out, investigates with an S, all spelled out, at proton.me. M-E. All right. So what I'll do is I'll make that announcement. Jess Rains and I will be live again with call in. If you want to call in and ask questions, feel free to do so. I think we'll probably limit it to a couple minutes so that we can get everybody that wants to ask questions in the live stream. And I'll make that announcement under the post on YouTube and on TikTok, of course. So everybody, enjoy your families. Go and have a wonderful day today. Be well. Okay, for those of you still here, I found Amanda has just sent me a picture of the treehouse a little while ago. So let me show you the picture of the treehouse so we can let this one rest. And this will make total sense. I don't know why the state put 620 Taylor Avenue on their state's exhibit list when in fact this actually looks like the back of 619. It looks exactly like the back of 619. Let me grab it for you. It's in my inbox. And I will show you this. I have never stopped a stream in the middle of the end to give you an update. I usually just will post it in my post if we find some answers, but I am going to give it to you live right here. Let's see what we've got. All right. I think it is 619. It looks to me that this could possibly be the back. So it does look like it is. Here it is. This is what they call the treehouse, which looks like the back of right here. Right there. The back of the treehouse is right. Amanda, is that across the street or is it on? It's got to be on Taylor. That looks like the back of 619. Why would they put 620? That is quite odd. This looks like the back of this house. Is that right? That looks like the back. Lee's boots on the ground. Thank you to Devil's Advocates. Yeah. Treehouse is right next to the whites. Amanda B., you freaking rock. You rock. You rock, girl. That looks like the back of this house that is right next to the whites on this side, but on the back, that is treehouse. All right. Thanks for finding that for us, Amanda. Thank you, Devil Advocates. Lee, we greatly appreciate you tuning in. It looks like everybody was there, but how in the world did Ethan and Xana get home? That is the big question we'll go down to next. How did Ethan and Xana get home? Be well, everyone. That's Lee standing in the parking lot. All right. Thanks, Lee.